So, it's next gen soon.
And it's definitely only between Microsoft and PlayStation, okay? That's the only people that this is going to be the console wars, right?
Or is it?
Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun. I have this red mark still from my hat.
The Lawbreakers hat.
Yeah.
Law markers.
We didn't do 2 episodes at once. What are you talking
So
about?
guys, turns out Phil Spencer's got some thoughts on what's hot next gen, and in the what's not hot category, he has put Sony and Nintendo. Oof. This obviously is, pissed off Sony and Nintendo fans. They're very mad about it. But if you really look at what he's trying to say, it's interesting. He's got some sort of point. We'll talk about it.
So guys, it is really the year, right? We've been waiting for it since 2013. 7 years now, okay? It is the time to see what the new consoles are. And PlayStation, where the hell are you? Now, I thought that were just going to be the two battling against each other for the console wars, but Phil Spencer...
the Nintendo Switch.
And the Nintendo Switch.
We thought we were going to get an upgrade. No upgrade this year.
Until 2021 or 2022.
Right.
But Phil Spencer, okay, my boy Phil Spencer, he actually thinks that there's going to be other people entering the market, and this is what he said.
Yeah, this is an interesting quote. He was being interviewed, and he sort of talked about the future of the, console video game landscape. And here's what he said. When you talk about Nintendo and Sony, we have a ton of respect for them, but we see Amazon and Google as the main competitors going forward.
That's some shade.
That's not disrespect to Nintendo and Sony. Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
But the traditional gaming companies are somewhat out of position. I guess they could try to recreate Azure. Azure, by the way, is their big cloud farm, like all of their cloud computing hardware that they've got set up all over the world. But we've invested tens of billions of dollars in cloud over the years. I don't want to be in a fight over format wars with those guys while Amazon and Google are focusing on how to get gaming to 7 billion people around the world. Ultimately, that's the goal. That's a really important point. And I think just to unpack what he's saying here, right? He's basically saying that in the future, cloud is going to matter a hell of a lot. And I think we can all agree it's going to matter. I know there's people in the comment section angrily typing about game ownership and physical discs and collection and whatever else. I get that. But the reality is, this is where things are going to go. You're still going to be able to buy a copy of your games most of the time.
Yep.
Just like you can buy vinyls today, man. They still exist, okay? But at the end of the day, cloud is going to be hugely important. And what he's saying here is that Microsoft and Google and Amazon are really well set up for that, whereas Sony have no capability on that front. And Nintendo, lol. They can't even get a friends list working on their phone. They can't. You need a separate app to do voice chat. You need to use your phone and a separate app to use voice chat on Nintendo Switch.
It feels like Stadia. And on Stadia, they are a giant meme right now, but they are actually set up in terms of all they need to do is change 1 or 2 things, do a few tweaks in their business model, and they can actually become very relevant. They do have Google Play, and that's 50% of the Android or the phone market. You know, if the next big thing comes out, like a Fortnite equivalent comes out on the mobile, Google already has the giant pool of people already on their phones and already on their ecosystems that they can just jump in on that. Now, Apple are the only ones that also have that, but it doesn't seem like they're that interested right now in doing that.
Yeah, I mean, they obviously have the other 50% of the mobile market, and they generate billions and billions because they take, 30% of every dollar spent on the App Store?
And they make a phone for $1 and sell it for like $1,600.
That's right, that's standard Apple. So,
thanks, Apple.
But they don't seem to have any interest in, core gaming market, and they also don't have sort of cloud infrastructure set up in the same way that Microsoft and Amazon do. So, Amazon, though, is a really interesting one. Now, we have heard reports, and it's almost a certainty at this point, that Amazon will announce a cloud streaming platform this year. We don't know what format that's going to take, we don't know what the business model is going to be, etc. But we do know that's a thing. By the way, did you know there's an Amazon game launcher right now on PC?
Ooh.
Go and download it.
Is there any games on there?
There's some games on there. Most of them are not great. There's a few good ones. They're all the ones you get given with Amazon Prime, like Twitch Prime, whatever.
Okay.
So anyway, they're obviously setting themselves up for a PC client, and they're going to have a streaming service. They already own Twitch, by the way.
That's the thing.
That's a huge opportunity for them, because if they can somehow push people from Twitch onto their streaming platform and back and forth between the two. That's a huge competitive advantage.
I can't think of another company that has such a competitive, apart from Stadia, and if they do it correctly. Amazon own the gaming platform in terms of Twitch. People go there to watch people all the time. All they need to do is put some sort of little button there that says play the game.
Well, I mean, Stadia can do exactly the same thing.
Which they haven't done yet.
Correct, but my point is that Twitch viewership is a drop in the ocean compared to YouTube viewership. That's a reality, right?
Sure.
And so if both of those companies have an opportunity, if they get the business model correct, to go very large on that front. But look, the thing that I think is most important about what Phil Spencer said here is this idea about 7 billion people around the world. That's the goal. And I think that's what we kind of need to understand in the context of this quote. This isn't like Phil Spencer saying, Sony, Nintendo, so irrelevant, right? What he's saying is that ultimately they are fighting for what feels like a smaller pie versus what Amazon, Google, and Microsoft are fighting for, because ultimately cloud is going to be the thing that does allow you to get to 7 billion people. Right now, hardware is a huge limiting factor. Everyone who watches this channel thinks it's no problem because we're all hardcore gamers, but the majority of people around the world who live in, developing countries or whatever else, they just can't buy a $500 console, right? Mobile gaming is huge over there, and if you can somehow get these people out of just straight up mobile gaming and into core gaming, that's a huge opportunity, right? These three companies are very well positioned to do that. Sony and Nintendo absolutely not in the same way.
Definitely not Nintendo. And look, I mean, a lot of these developing countries already are like kind of skipping the current internet. They're going straight to satellite. They're going to have 5G pretty much when a lot of other people are going to have it too. So they're also going to be ready, and there's a lot of people there, you're right. But I think Sony, right? I haven't really heard much about Sony, and I really am wondering now if Phil Spencer is right in saying they just do not have the technology and infrastructure to compete.
They don't have it. In fact, they recently signed a deal with Microsoft for the use of Azure, their cloud farm, right?
It's like Apple gets their screens made by Samsung.
That's right. It's exactly what it is.
Exactly like that.
So that's it. I mean, and that obviously leaves Sony extremely exposed because if they want to turn off the tap and say no more, Azure for you, they can get it from Amazon, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, though, they're not providing this infrastructure themselves. They're relying on someone else to do it. PS Now, by the way, is a cloud streaming service that Sony offers. It does exist. It's got lots of games on it, but they have not marketed it yet. And I expect we'll hear a lot more about that when they reveal PS5.
Yeah, I'm not understanding why they're not pushing that. I guess you're right. It's probably going to be a huge portion of PS5.
For sure.
Because, I mean, look, Sony has been dominating the market now this whole gen, and, it makes sense that I'm sure they understand what the next generation looks like, and it is about streaming. A lot of people still want to buy their games, cool. But a lot of people that are playing Candy Crush right now on the phone will likely be the same people that might jump on 5G streaming and play new games in the future. There's going to be a gigantic market, and the mobile money is 10 times bigger than any console money at the moment. So it's going to be a gigantic market.
I think what's really interesting about this and his comments is that it indicates very clearly this is a generation like we've never seen before. Like up to this point, we've had consoles that sit underneath our television that we buy, and they sit there for 5 years, and that's it. What his comments are very clearly saying is that day is not quite done, but it's getting pretty close to done. I would bet very large money that this is the last major console cycle that we will see.
I've been saying that for a while. You said
No, I didn't. I'm not. Major console cycle, right? Sure. As in, like, we're going to see console upgrades. We're going to see consoles move to the PC model where they become modular and upgrade or whatever else. I don't think we're going to see the same sort of like, cool, 7 years from now, we're going to have a big jump in power and this is what it is. I think that's done. I think between cloud and between the growth of the PC market, modular PC componentry, all that stuff, I think this is it, man. So I think Phil is actually spot on the money with his predictions here.
I think there's just two major things here. There's going to be too much money in the streaming market, I think, for consoles to not jump on and give a lot of their time and effort into it. And number two, I mean, the actual technology itself, I think it's going to hold itself back as time goes on, and computational power makes all these creative, great ideas in gaming. It's just going to be, there's so many forces moving that way. And another thing is, like, we say, oh, Pokemon sold 16 million, that's a lot. Or GTA sold over 100 million. That is going to be nothing compared to like games that come out that are big successes in this new streaming market with 7 million phones. We're going to see games that sell like 1 billion copies.
Well, I think
like
Mario Kart had like 100 million downloads or something already.
Oh,
I forget the number, but like COD, I think has already had on mobile has already had like 150 million downloads.
Sure.
Those are the numbers we're talking about.
Yeah.
So realistically, these companies don't care if like God of War sells 6 million copies. Like that's a fact. That's chump change compared to what you can accomplish in the mobile market or in the cloud streaming market. That's the goal they're fighting for. And I think, as I said, Phil is spot on to say that they're very well placed to sort of take advantage of that. It's a very smart business. I don't think it's a threat to gaming as we know it. I know there's lots of doomsayers that think real gaming is finished and done. There's always going to be real gaming. Just like there's always great cinema today. There's great music if you're freaking some Pitchfork reader. Whatever, man. You want to find your good shit, you're going to find it.
Yep.
You're also just going to find lots of other stuff as well. You know, the market's going to get bigger. I don't think it's going to die. And it's going to be interesting console war, man.
It will be, yeah, I mean, it really will. It won't be a console war. It'll be like a company mega giant war.
Ecosystem wars.
Ecosystem
Begun
war.
the ecosystem wars have.
That's actually what it's going to be, everybody.
Anyway, that's the end of the episode.
Oh, what that won't do. Okay.
That's the end of the episode.
Is it now? Okay. No, that's it.